Hi guys, I'm going to try to do a simple tutorial on how to make tzitzits. I have here two styles. One is a super simple style that I find useful for people who are new to wearing tzitzits, who want to make their own and don't want to fuss with learning how to tie a more complicated tzitzit, and also people who really want their zits to be more discreet. So what's nice about these, so I keep these are all on a clip. Any of these can be made on a loop style, or you can put them on a safety pin. I just really like these clips. They're pacifier clips. You can find them on Amazon. And what I like about them is I almost never have pants with belt loops, so these work really well for me. What's nice about these is they're a little bit shorter, and when you wear them all in one place, they're just a little bit more discreet. So I have had a lot of people who have preferred the simplicity of them all on one clip in the past. Also, you're less likely to lose half of your zits, but if you lose it, you lose all of them. This is a style that I make most often. This is kind of an older pair of mine, so they're kind of a little, I don't know, a little worn, but they're on the same pacifier clips, but these are plastic. I really like these clips, and I'm going to demonstrate how to make these. If you would like another time, I can do another tutorial for how to make another style. I know Alex has one. I believe Alex has a knotted style, and they might be blue and white with the Alex knows what I'm talking about, and he can show you. So I'm going to show you what I use to make these, and then I will try to do a simple demonstration. Okay, so I use a variety of different strings, and I'm going to just quick go through those. A lot of people don't know what to look for when they go shopping, and I'll show you the different strings that I use. So these are crochet thread. You find these at most craft stores. At Hobby Lobby, they're sold on an end cap at the end of the yarns. I really like working with these. I would use these two together in a set. As you can see, the string is twisted. I much prefer strings that have twists in them. They're more durable in the long run. These are super common. They're just DMC floss. They come in a million colors, which is really a nice feature of this type of floss. It's very inexpensive at about 60 cents a hank. However, they show wear a lot quicker. The set that I have here is made with these DMC flosses. These are my favorites to use. It's also a DMC floss, but it's a pearl cotton. They sell these at most craft stores. Joann's is where I always have the best luck finding this particular one. However, Hobby Lobby has their own brand. It's the Artiste, and it is not nearly as nice. Actually, let me grab one. I know I have one here. Okay. So here is a Hobby Lobby Artiste. I do like that they have these nice variegated colors in some of theirs, but the yarn weight it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's as nice. Also, it's harder to find good color matching because you always add a quart of blue, and I have several of these Artiste ones that I think are very pretty, but I'm perhaps a little particular about this in that even though this is like, say for instance, this is shades of blue, I would not make a zit with that unless I had a solid blue to go with it. I think that that's probably a little legalistic. It's just me. I'm particular. And so I have a lot of these that I've purchased and find I'm not able to use. So the DMC Pearl Cotton is the most expensive, probably per set. Comes in, these sell for about $1.60 a hank, but they have really nice colors, and I just really like the way they turn out. Then there's nylon threads. I buy these at Hobby Lobby, and they have a variety of colors, not a huge selection, but they're nice. At $3.49, not bad. This is the thin one, and for one of our sons really prefers the thicker nylon, and I think these are about $6, maybe $6.99, but they go really far. I mean, you can make so many off of these, and you do have to melt the ends when you are finished with them. You just take a little lighter and melt the ends, but they're really durable, and I don't know, they're nice. So those are the different thread options. What I'm going to use today is I'm going to use these just because I've got 3 different colors here to work with, and I think it's going to be easiest to show you what I'm doing when I'm using 3 colors. Okay, so I don't use exact measurements when I make these, but when I open up a hank, I take the loose end and what I do is I stretch my right arm all the way out, extend it to the right, and pull the string to my left shoulder. So that's roughly a yard. And what I will do for today, there's no right or wrong way to make tzitzits. It's super simple. I mean, you could literally make a loop, tie a knot, and as long as you have a blue strand, you're fulfilling the commandment. It doesn't have to be done any particular way. But this is a way I like to make them. I think it's pretty. So I will do 3 strands of white, 3 strands of this kind of deep purple, and I'm going to do 2 strands of blue. So it's 8 strands per set that I'm making, per tzitzit that I'm making. So, and the way I'm going to do it, let me think how to explain this. I'm sorry, so I am making for you ones that are like this, where they have 2 coming off of one. So you have 2 tassels on one clip. So I will ultimately need 6 white, 6 purple, and 4 blue for a set of 4. But on each one, I'll be using 3, 3, and 2. I hope that makes sense. I will show you when I'm at that point. One more thing, for purposes of how I wrap them, where I accentuate the blue, I always use a little bit more. At 1 yard, roughly, I will not have a problem having enough thread for my blue wraps. But if you're if you are wanting to use more of a primary color, sometimes it's nice to give it an extra foot of that. At 1 yard, it will be fine. You'll see. But if you're being more conservative with your thread, you would want to give yourself a little bit extra for whatever color you want to be a primary color. Okay, so with these thin DMCs, just want to go over the numbers again. So these were all about 1 yard lengths. I did 3 strands of purple, 3 strands of white, 2 strands of blue. And I did 2 sets of that. Now the DMC floss is pretty thin. So sometimes I would even do 4, 4, and 3. And you can add more colors. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just explaining. This is going to be a fairly thin tassel. So once I have it sorted out, I've split them up. I folded them in half, made sure the ends were as close to even as possible. And then I get to my center. What I do is once I find my center, I go down. This is kind of hard to do. Maybe 1.5 inches down. And this is the trickiest part, to be honest. So say I will grab it here and assume this is, so hold on, wait. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Let me think of how to say this better. Okay, so it's folded over. This is the loop. You want a large enough loop that you could loop it through a belt loop and or through a safety pin or whatever. I find an inch to probably an inch and a half is ideal. Now you can just take these and tie a knot in it right here. And then your loop is these loose strings, and that's totally fine. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people do it because it's quick and it's easy. And also if you have it fixed on something like a clip the way I do, that works just fine. And I believe that these ones are looped that way. See, it's just a the loop is just, sorry, I'm trying to focus. It's just the strings like this. And I would loop it through like that and then tie it. However, my preferred way to make them is with a braided loop. What I like about it is it's just a little more tidy looking. I don't like a lot of loose strings. So to do it that way, I find my spot where it's going to end, and then I separate my strings. And the best way I have found to do this is I actually will put right where my thumb is. I will put that part between my lips and hold on to it. So all of that will hang down. And I will separate the strands by colors, which is why I did it in 3 different strands to make that easier to see. However, it doesn't really matter. You just separate it like you're braiding a bunch of hair. It doesn't have to be perfect or even. I know this is the spot I want to start my braid from, and I will usually just braid 23 to 25 braids, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do that really quickly, and I'll come show you how that turns out. Okay, so my loop is braided. I've pinched my sides together, and I'm just going to make a simple knot. Now, once my knot is made, the easiest thing for me to do is I'm going to not do this. I'm not going to do it on camera, but I will just loop it over my finger like that, and I'll use my other hand, and I will just tug on each individual string to make that a nice and tight knot. Let me show you the difference in how it looks when I just dropped it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it takes what is originally kind of a big knot and makes it a much smaller knot, but it just makes it nice and snug. You don't have to do it. It's how I do it. Okay, so this is how you can use a safety pin or whatever, but I just looped mine onto one of those clips because it helps to have something that I can pull against as I'm making them so that I can make my knot snug. I mean, people use all different kinds of things. I've seen people tie that loop around or put that loop around their big toe, and it gives them good tension. In the past, I know that sounds funny, but it actually works. I have done a safety pin on the knee of my jeans. That works. There's all kinds of ways to do it, but it's just nice to have something to give yourself a little tension. I separate my strands, so my 3, 3, and 2. And this is where it's going to get a little tricky because I'm trying to do this. So these are set to the side, and I will, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them in this order, and then I'm going to use, so my primary color is going to be the blue, and I'm going to wrap it around those others. I'm going to wrap it snugly around them, and I'm going to push up on the blue coil that I'm making periodically to make it nice and tight. So let me see, I'm going to probably wrap it a dozen times, and then I will show you what that looks like. Get that focused. So as I'm wrapping it, I am just trying to keep those strands flat. The flatter they are, the neater it is. I just like things to be really neat. So hold on, I'm trying to get the focus right on this. So periodically I will do this, and then I would come through and I would just push up on that blue, like I just let it go. So that wasn't helpful. This is really hard to do without a tripod to show you, but hopefully that gives you an idea. As I'm wrapping it around those other strands, I'm holding both strands taut, and then I just push up on the blue coil periodically. 1 second. Okay, I've done that first wrapping. What I found was that after about 5 wraps, I pushed it up, and then I did another 5 wraps. This is 10 wraps, and I'm just going to make my first knot at this point. It doesn't really matter how many times. This is 10. So what I did is I have my blue strand still on the right side and my other strands on the left. But I grabbed a couple of the purple strands to help me make that knot. If you don't grab something from the other side, your knot will not be snug. So I'm going to make 2 knots. I wish I knew the names of these knots. I'm just going to loop it through once, and then I'm going to loop it through twice. And in doing so, I'm just going to try to keep this tension on it so that it stays nice and tight. Okay, so I did those 2 knots. And this is where I realized I would normally use more strands myself. I was trying to keep it really simple for this, and it doesn't matter. It's going to work out just fine. But I have my blue on the right side and my other colors on the left, and I pulled 1 white strand over to help balance the blue because I don't have as much blue as I have of the other colors. So I'm going to try to demonstrate this twisting motion that I do. This is ideally what it will look like. And what I do is I will twist these 2 strands. Let me think. Hold on, let me think how I do that. 1 second. Let me make sure I'm explaining it correctly. Okay, so I was right. I twist each strand pretty snugly to the left, and then Gabriel, come here, please. And then, hold on, I'm going to get an assistant here. Come here, please. I need you to hold this camera just like this. Don't come in that side, come in on the, ouch.
I did.
Oh my gosh, you're a clod. Just hold this right here. Just hold it right there, like that. Okay. So once they're snug, I'm going to wrap them the other direction. So they twisted to the left, but I'm now wrapping them to the right. So each one is essentially, Gabriel, right there. Excuse me. I'm hoping this makes sense. And if the tension looks like it's loosening at all as I go along, I just twist these individual strands a little bit more. And then when I get to the bottom here, I grab both strands together and while keeping that tucked at the top, I just push up on that. Make that kind of a nice tight knot. Just keep holding that, Gabriel. I should have used him to help me with this in the beginning. Okay, so now I'm back to what we did at the top. I'm separating my colors. They're going to be motion sick, honey. Just try to hold it still. And I'm going to wrap again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It doesn't really matter how many wraps that you have. It's just, they're done. Now I grabbed some purples from that other side just to make my knot snug. I'm going to do 2 knots, and then thanks, that's all I need. Okay, so you can see this is a pretty skinny tassel, but a lot of people, especially when they start wearing tassels, feel like they don't want it to be too big or obvious. So this might be a really nice size, and actually I wear them this size too sometimes. But you've got your wrap on the top, and then at the bottom of that there is a knot. Actually, there's 2 knots, and then I twisted that section. I probably twisted it, I don't know, 10, 12 times, something like that. And then I did 1 big knot with all the strings together. Then I just wrapped, I think I did 12 wraps on the bottom, did 2 knots to keep that secure, and then I will just cut, when I'm done with both sides, I will cut that level at the bottom. And so now I'll just do the same with that side, and then I will grab my other strands. I will find the middle point, fold them in half, and do the whole procedure over again. I hope this was really helpful. If I'm unclear, Alex can call me. I can try to clarify a point, but this is just a simple, but I think kind of pretty style. It is also perfectly okay to simply make a loop at the top, such as so, tie a knot, and you can separate your 2 halves. Once you do that, you would have your left half and right half, basically like this, and you could just braid those down as many braids as you wanted, and then tie a knot in the bottom. And that is a super simple tassel, and that's what these are. So I made the loop, I made the loop at the top. I just looped it onto this clip, and I just I'm sorry, my focus is really challenged. I just braided it down and tied a knot at the bottom and clipped them to the same length at the end. Super simple. And anyway, so I hope that was helpful. Have a great day.